All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it's stretch run time in the Major League Baseball season as contenders are beginning to punch their tickets to the playoffs. Now, over the last 28 years, we've seen MLB make tweaks to the postseason, which started in 1994 when instead of just two division winners in each league, there were now three. And along with the one wild card, with that, there was one wild card spot remaining for the best remaining non-division winner in each league. Now, that 18 postseason format remained in play until 2012 when MLB added an additional wild card spot in each league, which produced a one game winner take all contest between the two wildcard teams in order to advance to the divisional round. Now, we saw eight teams from each league get to the postseason in 2020 due to the shortened 60 game season, with MLB going back to the 10 team postseason format last year. But things have changed this year with the addition of a third wild card spot for each league. But is it helping or is it hurting Major League Baseball? Now, right now, with the exception of the American League Central and National League East, we have a pretty good idea who is going to win the rest of the divisions around baseball, as already the Los Angeles Dodgers have wrapped up the National League West. And with those divisions basically being wrapped up or well on their way to being wrapped up, technically we should focus on the wild card races. But right now, is there that much to be excited about? In the American League, you got the Toronto Blue Jays, Seattle Mariners, and Tampa Bay Rays. They're the teams that are in possession of the three wild card spots. Just a half game separates all three of these teams, which, in my opinion, would be a very good storyline if you had these three teams contending for just two spots. But that is not the case, as you know, all three of them know that more than likely they're going to make the playoffs. Why? Because the two closest teams behind them in the standings, it's Baltimore and it's the Chicago White Sox. And for Baltimore, they are 4.5 behind for the final wild card spot. And then the White Sox are 6.5 behind. As honestly, I think Chicago has a better chance of catching Cleveland for the AL Central than they do of getting the wild card. Now, over in the National League, you know, the Atlanta Braves, they are entrenched in the catbird seat for the top wild card. You know, very comfortable lead right now. The Braves are up 10 games on the Philadelphia Phillies for who are the second wild card right now. And honestly, the only drama right there is whether or not it's going to be the Braves or the New York Mets that will be the wild card, because they're going toe to toe right now for the top spot in the NL East. The third spot in the wild card race in the National League is owned by the San Diego Padres, who do have a two-game lead over the Brewers for the final spot. But for me, I think it would have been a better storyline if you had the Phillies, Padres, and Brewers all just battling it out for one spot coming down, you know, the stretch here in the season. Now, in pursuit of getting more money from the playoffs, I think that MLB has really taken away from the excitement of this part of the season, which is the race to get to October. We saw the second wild card added after that crazy last day of the season in 2011 when Tampa Bay made that big comeback on the Yankees. The Red Sox collapsed against the Baltimore Orioles, and then instead of Boston getting the wild card spot, it was Tampa Bay. Then everything in the NL with the likes of the St. Louis Cardinals as well. So it was kind of like MLB's version of March Madness. You know, we saw the expanded postseason in 2020, and you know, for me, I do believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe that, you know, owners saw that and said, maybe, hey, you know what? Let's try to expand this postseason and get some money. My thing is this: you're not the NBA, you're not the NFL if you're MLB. You got 162 games to get this right, as far as figuring out who's good enough and who's not good enough to make the postseason. And within 162 games, we know who are the teams to beat and who are the pretenders. And now I think you're just opening the door for more mediocre teams to get into the postseason, which is probably going to happen. And then on top of that, I think you're watering down your product. So, for me, I think the expanded postseason is taken away from those races because you go back to last year. You had both Seattle and Tampa win 90 plus games, and neither one of them made the postseason. That's how contentious things were in the American League last year. And I think that would be a tremendous story right now, as far as like, these teams trying to get to the postseason. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good deal for Seattle because they're probably going to end their postseason drought, and it's the longest current postseason drought in Major League Baseball, as the Mariners have not made the playoffs since 2001. But even without the expanded postseason, this is probably their best shot to get there. But also the expanded postseason to me, I think, has taken away from the excitement of the trade deadline. Why? Because now with more teams feeling like they have a shot to make the postseason, you're not getting that many sellers as you normally would in years past. Prime example for me is the Boston Red Sox. I really thought that Boston should have waved the white flag at the trade deadline. They didn't because they felt like they still had a shot. And obviously, Boston's light is flickering on and off, and it's not very strong right now as far as them potentially getting to the postseason. I think the Red Sox would have been better served, trading some of their valuable assets to get something back in return as they're looking to regroup and head into 2023. But that was not the case. So if you want to go out there and add pieces going forward, I think all of the excitement, or the majority of the excitement, is going to come at MLB's winter meetings. But nonetheless, I think that it's one of those where Major League Baseball, like a lot of other people, they're chasing the dollar. As far as I'm concerned, I really feel, out of all of the playoff expansion that we've seen recently, the play-in tournament in the NBA, college football playoff expanding, the NFL's expanding their postseason. I think the only league that really was justified in doing it was the NFL. But for me, for Major League Baseball, I didn't see the need for it. Let's see what happens in the postseason with these 3-game series while you're giving the top two seeds bye in each league. But nonetheless, I think the lead up right now would have been greater than the excitement for the additional couple of games in the postseason. My opinion only, but nonetheless, I think Major League Baseball is making a big mistake because I think these games right now really could have been must see TV. I don't see too many people getting excited for the race right now in the American League Central between Cleveland, Minnesota, and Chicago, as they're all three mediocre teams. I think there are some people getting excited for the Mets Braves battle coming down the stretch in the NL East. Probably more Met fans than Braves fans, but nonetheless, like both of those teams know that they're going to be postseason bound, regardless of an expanded playoff or not. They know that they're going to be there. But nonetheless, I don't see the same amount of storylines that we normally would this time of year, and I think that's because of the fact that, hey, teams know we're going to the postseason regardless. It's just a matter of seeding. So I think it's taken away from some of the sizzle. Major League Baseball got what they wanted in getting more money, but at the end of the day, I think they sacrificed excitement for their game that is failing to keep up with the likes of the NBA and the NFL for popularity. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social Media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.